Hi, my name is Barry Crampton. Welcome to the first edition of Not the Evangelist News. I just came up with the idea. Sometimes I do. I was just sat here last night and all of a sudden I thought what a good idea it would be to go through the news, especially about EVs, and keep everybody up to date. And that was it. So I'm going to share the news with you now. It was all my idea, nobody else's. So the first thing we're going to look at, it's a story in transportandenergy.com, and when you can get rid of all the adverts, and I know it's annoying, but that's how we all make our money. So Motability scheme offers good value against used EV challenges. However, there's a couple of things in here that you really need to know, because when you get the news from the EV shills and the parrot sites and the SMMT, you don't quite get the right view. Things like this, you can just pick out the odd snippet. The UK's transition to electric, shaped by the zero emission vehicle mandate, means there are fewer petrol and diesel cars available and more electric cars are available. This is Motability said. They've grown by 800,000, so that's good. But then as we go down, so Motability also reported there's a low consumer demand for EVs and concern about affordability and accessibility, as well as the location of charge points. So, people are worried about this sort of thing. So the first story, which will please a lot of people here, this last week or so, somebody's been, got the wrong end of the stick and keeps tweeting me very, very nasty tweets all the time. As I say, got the wrong end of the stick, took it literally when I was being sarcastic. But this headline, EVs up to 50% more expensive to repair than ICE vehicles, find the WSG. So who's that? Warranty Solutions Group. Obviously they're trying to sell warranties, and as EVs are becoming more and more popular, they'll be trying to sell warranties to EV people. So you've got to kind of read between the lines on this sort of stuff. But according to WSG's analysis of EV warranty claims for 2023-2024, repair costs for EVs are on average 30 to 50% higher. Now, we sold an I-Pace a couple of weeks ago. We've only had 3 EVs. We sold an I-Pace. I like I-Pace. And the day after, the chap rang up and said, I can't charge it. It will only charge on the granny charger at home. It's no good for me. It takes 39 hours to charge. So the first thing we did is, of course, I knew it charged because I'd had it on the fast charger at the co-op, and it charged perfectly. I'd also used it on the granny charger, and it was the first day that it had gone out. I'd used it the day before. So the first thing we thought was perhaps the charging port on the car. Looked at the price of those, and honestly it would have been more than we'd made on the car. If the charging port had gone, more than it made on the car. So this was before I've read this. Among the most common EV issues are failures in battery charge control modules, yes, power distribution boxes, warning lights and shock absorbers. Warning lights, I used to say that about Renaults. The only thing that never went wrong on Renaults was the warning lights. Used to light up all over the place. The battery charge control module alone averages a repair cost of £1,311.12p, while power distribution box repairs are around £747.65, while a customer may expect to pay £875 to repair warning lights. I mean, customers don't repair warning lights, trust me. Customers try and cover them up, not repair them. And £588.86 to repair shock absorbers. WSG highlight that battery replacements can cost between £8,000 and £12,000 on a standard model. There's much industry discussion about the cost of EV repairs compared to internal combustion engine vehicles. Many studies show that electric vehicles have lower servicing and maintenance costs than petrol and diesel cars because they have fewer moving parts that can fail. However, not all repair shops are equipped to handle EVs, and the specialised knowledge is needed to safely work on high voltage electrical systems. This drives up the labour costs, as repairs often require trained professionals, sometimes through the manufacturers or specialised dealers. Now then, this is where it gets interesting. The study also referenced research from CAP HPI, which compared the service maintenance and repair SMR costs of EVs with ICE vehicles over a typical 3-year ownership period. The results showed that EVs are not always the cheaper option. Now the guy who's following me and tweeting me, please take notice of this, because I've been looking at invoices, service invoices on EVs, and they don't look cheap at all to me. In fact, I don't know how they charge that much. But one of them, I think it was a Tesla, they were charging £229 an hour. The results showed that EVs are not always the cheaper option, with the Volkswagen ID3's maintenance plan costing £1,050 over 3 years, compared to £615 for the diesel Golf, due to more expensive tyres, of course. You get 40,000 miles out of an EV tyre. I mean, I don't know what they're talking about. They should ring Quentin up. Imbeciles, eh? Don't know what they're doing. So, compared to £615 for the diesel Golf, due to the more expensive tyres EV requires to support their heavier batteries. Again, I can see the comments now. It's lighter than this, it's lighter than that. So, even though they're expecting the next generation of battery electric vehicles to cost less to produce, it's estimated that the average cost of an EV body and battery repair after a serious accident will increase by 30%. The message there is, listen this is funny. By combining an honest discussion about repair costs with frightening your customer to death, with a positive outlook on the benefits of EV ownership, it's cheap to charge at home. Motor dealers can build trust, honestly. If you're selling an EV the way they're selling it at the moment, there's no trust. After a week, when the customer sobers up and he knows what's been inserted, there's no trust. So, build trust and encourage buyers to invest in extended warranties. Now, the problem is, EVs are being heavily discounted at the moment, so people can actually afford them who can't afford to run them. And when I say can't afford to run them, if it's a £40,000 car and you buy it at £20,000 and you get it on a PCP, you can afford it, it's fine. If you buy a used one and it's out of warranty, it runs out of warranty from the dealer and something goes wrong, you've got it on a PCP, big balloon payment at the end. You can't afford to have it repaired, and a lot of people can't afford to have it serviced. And we see this in ICE cars, things like Range Rovers. Everybody wants a Range Rover. Now, when we're looking for Range Rovers, it might sound a little bit snobby this, but when we're looking for Range Rovers and we see a vehicle, we always try and find the postcode of the person who's selling it and then look on Google Maps. If they've got a settee in the front garden, an old fridge, then we don't buy it. Because those type of people, they want to run a Range Rover, but they can't afford to. They can buy it, they can probably scrimp and scrape, borrow enough to buy a Range Rover, but then when it comes to servicing, they don't get it serviced. And that's, you know, that's the worst thing in the world. Just to labour the point here, when I was a young lad, I had an Opel Manta 1600S, beautiful looking car. I was only 17, and at the time I was having to insure it from month to month because I couldn't afford the insurance. It was a fortune. But anyway, I wanted this car, loved it, and there was a young lady who I liked, looked like Kim Wilde. She was absolutely beautiful, and I wanted to go out with her. And I used to see her out when I went out. But also, there was another lad who liked her, and he had a Mustang imported from America. He liked her too, and we were both doing our best to chat her up. He disappeared off the scene for a few weeks, by which time I was going out with her. And it turned out that his Mustang needed new brake pads. He had to get them from America. They cost a fortune. He couldn't drive his car, and he had to save up for his brake pads. So That's my point. If you want to get the girl, don't get a car that you can't afford to service. You're welcome. You can have that one for free. The next story. Oh, and these two are in Automotive Online. Dealers urge to avoid needless price corrections as used market remains strong. Retailers have been urged to strategically use data. Auto Trader sell data, by the way, just in case you didn't know. To avoid unnecessary price corrections, as the used car market is proving resilient with electric vehicles taking the lead in both demand and sales pace. They're not. So I suggest whoever's looked at that data should look again. Look at all the look at all the EVs that are for sale and coming for sale that have been parked up for 2 years. Anyway, right. So the used car market entered the last quarter in excellent health. It didn't. I know loads of people moaning, really, really worried. So before you make headlines like this, before you make stories like this, you should really talk to people, because I honestly don't know anybody at the moment who is doing really well. Everybody's worried. Yeah, I hold my hand up, that's the truth. According to the latest data from Auto Trader's Retail Price Index, with average used car prices showing resilience against typical seasonal trends. In September, the average price of a used car was $16,450, marking an 8.4% year-on-year decrease and a marginal 0.3% month-on-month decline. That outperformed the usual seasonal dip of 0.6% for September. This strength is attributed to robust consumer demand, with 82 million visits to Auto Trader in September, a 9% year-on-year increase. Despite a 5.4% drop in stock levels, used cars are selling faster than last year, with an average turnaround of just 27 days. Now, it's always better when there's fewer cars on the market, because people make their mind up quicker. You know, well, if you think about it today, sir, the person who thought about it yesterday might come back and buy it today. You'll miss out. Fear of missing out, FOMO. This is 1 day faster than in August and 4 days quicker than in September. Retailers have also seen a 5% increase in used car sales year on year, with 2024 maintaining a positive trajectory and a 3.9 sales increase year to date. Well, I'd probably put that down to lots of EVs being pre-registered, doing a deal with the customer, pre-registering them to get a bonus and selling them the customer, the new customer, the first owner, selling them the first owner as a used car. That, you know, that might go some way to explaining why that's happening. These favourable conditions, combined with strong demand and low supply, indicate that retailers should avoid prematurely reducing prices, which could erode margins. If you look at the prices of EVs, especially, you will see that they are way behind. You will see that they're trading at way behind cap clean. No matter what people say, you can pick them up. They are becoming harder to get. Again, I'll hold my hands up. And to get a nice clean one with good spec over and above the basic, you know, like a pan roof if it's not got one, bigger alloys, good colour, they're perhaps cap clean. Richard Walker, Auto Trader's Data and Insights Director, cautioning retailers, said, 2024 has been consistently strong. We saw many retailers adjust their retail prices in line with trends in the wholesale market last year, which resulted in a significant loss of margin potential. Retailers should rely on retail data to avoid unnecessary reducing profit potential. Cars started to drop at the end of last year as a result of EVs being so cheap. They affected ICE cars. You were having to distress sell nice ICE cars in order to compete. You know, prices dropped. You had to get yours, you had to sell yours first. And if it meant reducing it and you getting rid of it and then getting another one at the correct trade price for that particular time and not having one that stuck $2,000 over book on your forecourt, you do it. Everybody did it. That explains that. EVs are selling faster, averaging 26 days on the market, and prices are stabilising with a slight month-on-month decline of 0.1%. Now, I've seen somewhere that they went up by 1%. In fact, I think it was CAP. So CAP are saying they go up 1%. Auto Trader is saying they've declined. They've declined. Nobody gives CAP clean really. So notably, 3 to 5 year old used EVs are experiencing particularly strong demand, with a 110% surge in interest compared to 2023. So there's a 110% increase in interest, but the 3 to 5 year old used EVs are up 138%. So more people are buying. These vehicles sell in just 19 days on average, over a week faster than the broader market, and prices rose 1.6% in September. There's some very, very strange movement on the used 3 to 5 year old markets. Some of those are changing hands 2 and 3 times in a few months. So, you know, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it is a duck. And somebody's ducking the market up. I've never seen it like that in all my years in the motor trade. However, the market for nearly new EVs under 1 year old remains more challenging, with these vehicles priced £7,000 higher than their internal combustion engine equivalents. They are also taking longer to sell, averaging 43 days in September. Honestly, there's some pre-registered cars, they've been on Auto Trader for 2 years. I think there's one been on 3 years, but there's loads. You know, 43 days. Trust me, anybody who sells a new to 12-month-old EV in 43 days will be running around the showroom, jumping and skipping and clapping. So anyway, that's, oh gosh, here we go. We've got somebody else here. Sue Robinson, Chief Executive of the National Franchise Dealer Association, NFDA, noted the importance of the growing used EV market. The resilience of the used car market remains evident. It is promising to see an increase in demand for used electric vehicles, particularly in the 3 to 5 year old category, highlighting the developing market and shifting consumer preference. Right, okay, if that's the case, why are all these people buying it and then selling it after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? Selling it. Are EVs that bad? They're not, are they, really? If you've driven one, you'll know they're not that bad. So, there must be something else, or someone else, buying these EVs and selling them back, because they're all going back into the trade. The same amount are on Auto Trader, but there's more and more every day on these auction sites. And when you look at the previous owner, he's had him a couple of months. Now you'll love this. Are you EV shills ready for this? I've just got a report from New Automotive. September edition, electric car count, monthly bulletin on electric cars, vans and so on. The most up-to-date, free, comprehensive and detailed publication covering the EV transition in the UK. Electric car sales in the UK have returned to record-breaking growth after briefly dropping after September 2023. Well, that's not brief, is it? It's over a year. But UK electric car sales recorded their best month on record in September, with over 50,000 new electric cars registered. Taken all together, car makers are beating the targets in the zero emissions vehicle mandate by using additional rewards for selling more hybrid vehicles, as registrations of non-electric petrol and diesel vehicles recorded the smallest share of newly registered vehicles in history. Wow, that's terrible. So in fleet news also, we've got some really, really good news that everybody will be interested in. VW ID.7 has just travelled 493 miles on a single charge. It's a full page here. It's big news, big news. So a Volkswagen ID.7 has been driven for almost 500 miles on a single charge during an on-road range test. The vehicle used was a Pro S model equipped with an 86 kilowatt battery. Its official WLTP range is 440 miles. So it's range 440 and it did 493. That's absolutely brilliant. Oh, I say, the journey took more than 15 hours with an average speed of 31 miles per hour achieved. Nah, not so good, is it, really? Not so good. The ID7 was driven during the day on a defined 50-mile route in actual traffic, which included both main through roads and motorway sections. The test took place in Zurich, Switzerland. I bet the traffic's really bad there. You know, I don't know why, but I can just see Switzerland. I can see the traffic being really bad. So again, that's a major win for EVs there. You know, 15 hours to do that mileage, that's fabulous. Fleet news, more good news. People keep saying to me, you know, new EVs depreciating. It's very, very good news, because what happens is more people can afford them second hand. Well, yes, but fewer people will be able to afford them new, because they won't be able to afford to lose that money. So they'll stop buying them. And if they stop buying them new and losing all that money, then there won't be any second-hand bargains about. So if you think that way, you're an idiot. There's no two ways about it. You're an idiot. Just going on saying they're more affordable. No, they're not. They'll just dry up. When they dry up, they'll go up in price. So you can't win. Here we go, Voxhall. Voxhall cuts prices for electric Astra and Corsa models. Voxhall has realigned the price for its electric Astra and Corsa models with cuts of up to £4,795. The new pricing structure follows the introduction of the special edition Corsa Electric Yes Edition and the Astra Electric Griffin. The Astra Electric is now available from $34,945 in design trim, with GS and Ultimate trims priced at $37,240 and £39,395 respectively. This represents a saving of up to £3,865 on Ultimate trim. Pricing for the Astra Griffin remains at $34,995. Well, that's fantastic. Anything that can be done to bring EVs down is going to be really good for the new market and also the used. I tell you what, should we just check? Let me see. Well, let's just go to, are these, oh, those are Nissan Leafs. What have we got here? Oh, that's Polestar. So let's just go plus Auto Trader. One finger typing. And then we'll go Voxhall. Somebody told me not to do this and to get a mouse, but I don't think a mouse works with this. And anyway, my table's not right for a mouse. Astra Electric. So we'll go on Astra Electric. 105 cars there. And, well, gee. Those are used. So, brand new. Right, so that, oh, okay, so how much was it available for, the cheapest? 30,000 and something. Brand new, in stock, save £12,300. £25,495. Recommended retail price, £37,795. So, why write headlines like that? The next one, £29,495. That's a design. The other one was a design. So, have they reduced them or put them up? It's a tricky one, isn't it? So we've got some fantastic news from the States as well here. The Nissan Leaf is still alive and kicking. US sales up 187% in the third quarter. Nissan Leaf blew sales expectations in the third quarter. Nissan sold 187.5% more units of the aging EV compared to the same period last year. All right, so they sold 4,514 Leafs in America. Doesn't sound a lot, that, does it? I mean, it looks like, on the face of it, it looks like great news, but how many people are in America? Okay, well, then, here we go. Nissan Leafs. I've just put this in the search. Nissan Leaf, 2024, up to 100 miles. And just look at them. Let's go to the top first of all. We'll go to the top. These people can't even be bothered taking photographs, and I don't blame them. It's the same garage, Doncaster, Reading. You know, all these vehicles. So that's a 2024 74 reg, no doubt registered probably the back end of last month, you know, when we had all these cars, when EVs sold all them. 28th of the 9th, 2024. So this is just Nissan Leafs. This is just Nissan Leafs that they haven't sold, they've pre-registered. I mean, look at that. You know, I mean, it's just, I mean, see, that's 74 plate pre-reg, save £13,000. Click on that, see when it's registered, just for a laugh. 30th of the 9th, 2024. So what is it, 4 days old, save, 4 days old, save £13,000. And it just goes on and on and on. Now a couple of months, just, you know, all pre-registered, all delivery mileage. Look at that. It's embarrassing, isn't it? So we'll just go back here. That's that. We'll go back to the first one. I think that's Polestar. I had a discussion with a chap a couple of weeks ago. I'm worried about all these pre-registered and what they're going to do to values, especially if they've still got them in stock in January, when they're going to have to pre-register even more. Or, well, they'll probably pre-register a load in December as well. EVs spike in December, where a couple of years ago we got 30% EV registrations, because nobody in the right mind would register a car in December. It's 12 months old the next day. I call them New Year's EVs. Registered the last day of the month. They're still coming up for sale now. So these Polestars, these were registered in July. They've been put on the market, but now older ones have come up. I don't understand that. You know, if you want to devalue something, bring one out, a newer one, and then you flood the market with older ones. So these are 2023 on 73s, and I said that I guessed they advertised 53 on one day, and I said I guessed for every one of those there'd be another 10 more. It was a guess, it was a flippant guess, and somebody coming on and, you know, liar and so on. Here we go, look. Vehicle registered 31st of the 12th, 2023. Just look how many there are. Save 16,900 quid, all the same. And it's saying due in shortly. Where are they due in from? Because Polestar last month, or Polestar in July I think it was, might even have been August, they had a torrid time and sales are way down. Just look at all these pre-registereds. All I'm saying is, don't believe everything you see. Don't believe the figures that you see. Nobody's got any idea. Nobody will know who's registered what, where they've got. I just had a chat with somebody else before, and it's quite funny the way people's minds think. He's thinking that September results are down to fleet drivers. I'm thinking it's down to airfields where they'll all be parked up. Who knows? Thanks for watching. I'll see you on another episode, hopefully, of Not the Evangelist News. Good night.